Evening, my name's Laura. Some of you have seen me before on a live. So this evening's live is talking about another International House Cairo course called the International House Certificate in Advanced Methodology. All right, so thank you very, very much for those who helped out there. So I will be talking quite a lot, how unusual you think. I'm always talking when I'm on this live. But I'm also, I will also be happy to receive any of your questions because this is probably a course that many people might not be familiar with. And we've posted some, these are general questions to sort of introduce you to the course. But these are very important questions to ask yourselves if you are interested in this course. So obviously the first question is, do you want to improve your knowledge of methodology? Do you want to increase your chances of being accepted onto the Delta? Are you looking to further develop your career as an English teacher? Okay, and this is what the International House or the IH Advanced Methodology course does. All right, so this course is for those of you who wish to further develop your knowledge of teaching methodology. Right, so this is probably of particular interest to people who have taken the CELTA already. And for those of you who've taken CELTA, you know that it gives you a very general introduction, but not much detail. We give you the basics on a CELTA, all right? Whereas this course will provide more detail. Oh, somebody's struggling with their CELTA assignments. Oh, bless you. Good luck. Well, CELTA assignments you need to talk to your tutor about, and I know he or she will help you as much as they can. So this is post-CELTA. So this course won't help you with your CELTA now, this is after. Of course, there are teachers who want to take the Delta, who might not have taken CELTA because maybe they didn't feel the need, or they are very, very experienced and they were working in an environment where they're using a lot of communicative teaching methodology already. So they're thinking, okay, I'd like to go straight into the Delta, but it would be good to get ready first. And I would strongly recommend this because whether you've done the CELTA or Delta is neither here nor there, really. I mean, of course, both are, it is important to have done the CELTA, but what I mean is that jumping into the Delta cold is often a very big mistake, right? So if you're going to commit to something as intensive as the Delta, which A, develops your knowledge of your theoretical knowledge of methodology, and B, improves your teaching skills, it's not a good idea to jump straight in without some background, because the Delta is, at the end of the day, like doing a mini master's. So the more background you have, the easier it will be. So even when you have a strong background, many of us found it difficult. I can use myself as an example. I did my Delta when I had 4.5 years of post-CELTA teaching experience. So I've been using my CELTA teaching techniques for 4.5 years. I was in the UK, which meant I had taught lots of different nationalities. I had also done lots of different types of teaching. So I had taught business English ESP. I had taught exam preparation, for Cambridge exams. I had taught children. I had also started to become a teacher trainer. So I had a very broad background when I started the course. I struggled. And back in the dinosaur days, there were no preparation courses. You sort of jumped in, and I was glad of my experience and background. But nowadays, you're fortunate to have courses like this, because the shorter your background, the more support you need. All right. So okay, if you've done the CELTA and you're thinking about doing Delta, this course is a good idea. If you haven't taken the CELTA and you really want to do the Delta, again, this course is going to help you a great deal. All right. So I'll give you just a very brief overview of the course. I will be looking at my little list, so just bear with me. because there's lots of information, so I don't want to forget it. Basically, to join the course, you need to have taught for at least a year. International House recommends 600 hours of teaching. How you divide that up, of course, will vary, because it depends on how many hours a week that you have taught where you work already. And and your timetable. Of course, this will vary a great deal. All right. So this is very important. So you should have taught before. You should have some kind of teaching certificate. Doesn't have to be the CELTA, of course, because you might have a Bachelor of Education from your own country. All right. And this is a basic overview of the course. All right. So I'll just give you the basic details. Like I said, I'm keeping a list because there's a lot of information. All right. So I don't want to forget anything. So just bear with me. So this is basically the course objectives are to increase your theoretical knowledge of teaching. So all the subjects that you covered on the CELTA, for example, you will now cover in more detail. And I can see a lovely name I recognize here. Hello to the lovely Susan. It's lovely to see you. I hope you're very, very well. And you will also learn a lot about the different types of teaching. So back to the frameworks, if you remember. So you will look at these in more detail. You will look at how to teach productive skills lessons more effectively, how to teach receptive skills lessons more effectively, how to analyze language in more depth for teaching purposes. All right. And of course, phonology, lesson planning. So again, on CELTA, for example, we gave you the very basics of lesson planning. So we just gave you the overall, and we provided you with usually 2 or 3 lesson frameworks, such as test, teach, test, PPP, guided discovery. So you'll look at things like task-based learning as well, which often is referred to on CELTA, but we often don't get time to do that in as much detail as we would like. We also look at materials. So not only materials development, but how to use materials more effectively, and not just sort of depending on materials in general, but also looking at approaches like Dogme, for example, which many teachers often have questions about and don't often know how to use. All right, so we'll be looking at things like that. And of course, like the Delta, we'll be looking very carefully at discourse, so that's spoken and written. Some of you will be familiar with this already because if you studied English language and linguistics at university, I'm sure you have a strong background in this already. All right, so this is something that you will encounter on the advanced methodology course. All right, so basically the length of the course will vary, but we're looking at approximately 30 hours, okay, 28 to 30 hours. So the sessions will be, again, you'll have tutors delivering the sessions, all right? And of course, there'll be, input sessions like you had on CELTA, and there'll also be workshops. You'll also have like sort of mini projects. So we'll sort of ask you to analyze something and then come back and talk about it, or within the session itself, depending on how much detail is required. All right. There'll always be something to do. Remember CELTA and all the extra work you had after hours? Well, we're going to do something very similar. So there'll be pre-reading before the course, obviously, and, some reading during the course. We'll ask you to, we'll give you references to examine, maybe articles and chapters from methodology books, all right? Of course, important, relevant websites where appropriate, okay? And of course, there will be homework, just like the CELTA. You'll have some homework tasks, like sort of reflective tasks, especially a couple after the course has finished. There's sort of the consolidation. And at the end, there will also be what they call a reflective essay. All right. This will be between 1,500 and 2,000 words. So a bit like 2 CELTA assignments, basically. Right. So this will be a reflective task, as it says, where you sort of think about what you've learned from the course, what you will implement into your own, what you'll incorporate into your own teaching after the course. All right. And of course, you'll be observing each other and the people, the tutors who are training you on the course. All right. So if you have any questions so far, sorry, that was a lot of blah, blah, blah. Feel free to put your questions into the box on the side to keep me occupied. All right. While I'm talking, as I said, this course is to help you to decide whether you really want to do the Delta or not. Because like I said, doing the Delta is a very big decision. You shouldn't jump into it lightly. It's the advanced methodology course is a requirement before you actually do the Delta preparation course. So these are stepping stones, as the title mentions. So, if you're serious about doing the Delta, do the advanced methodology, then you do the Delta preparation, and then you jump into the Delta. All right. So there's stages. So yes, Jehan, you said how long is it? So it's about 30 hours. So there are 2 formats that we'll be following, at least 2, face-to-face and online. And course dates will probably be around June, July. We'll fix those this evening. All right. We have an application form, and you'll see that on the website. It's basically just as same kind of form that you filled in for CELTA, but without an essay. Just fill in your details, because, of course, we need to know how many people are interested in doing the course. For example, how many people would like to do it online, how many people would like to do it face-to-face. We'll probably start online as a part-time course, around 10 weeks, maybe Friday, Saturday is what we're looking at. So sort of 4 hours a day. So saying goodbye to your weekends, right? Good questions. Price. Don't ask me that one. That'll be on the website. So I don't do that part. That's for administrative people. So, but well done for asking lots of questions. Jehan gets the prize for asking lots of questions. And Suzanne gets the prize for providing us with such lovely compliments. I am impressed. We like teachers who ask questions. All right. So as I said, it's the advanced methodology is a series. It's the beginning of your series, of your journey towards the Delta. And I'm always saying this. We do see people who try to jump into the Delta too early, especially those who haven't done CELTA already. Because they sort of see it as right, well, I've done this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do that. I understand, and it's wonderful to see, wonderfully motivated people who are, determined to develop themselves as much as possible. But you see, the CELTA, because it's a pre-service course, we didn't expect you to have any experience when you started the course. If you have experience, that was great, but it wasn't an essential, all right? But with this one, you need a lot of preparation because the Delta is, an in-service course. So you need as much experience as possible. You can't just sort of, walk into it and go, oh, yes, okay. I've done so I'm just putting details here for contacts. Here you are. You can put send your inquiries to that email that I should have posted earlier. So yes, please don't jump into Delta without being prepared, because this is why Cambridge advises at least 2 years post CELTA, because everything that you covered on the CELTA course, you will cover in much more detail. So it's like 5 or 10 times more intensive than the CELTA. So the more preparation you have behind you, the more able you will be to complete the course. Because what happens more often than not is people jump straight in and they often end up dropping out because they simply weren't ready. Okay, so do take this course very, very seriously. CELTA preparation course, yes. Please send an email to the teacher training email and we'll provide you more details. We talked about that one a few days ago, so yes, Jahan, yes. We do have a CELTA preparation course. All right. So I think I've given you a general overview. I know I've had to repeat myself a few times, but I just wanted to make sure I'd included all the important details. So anything you'd like to ask, please throw your questions in here. If not, just send any other further queries to the teacher training at ihcairoeg.com email, and we can continue answering your questions after the live. So I shall leave you in peace and hope you found this session vaguely useful. Right, okay. So we look forward to seeing you on another live in the next couple of days. Have a lovely evening and see you soon. Good night.